Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bianca and welcome to my YouTube channel where I record whatever I want to record and post it on the internet for you to watch. So today I'm going to be talking about my Korean comfort show, All of Us Are Dead. I'm going to be talking about it while I do my makeup. I have literally watched this show about like 7 to 8 times since it came out in 2022. But basically I'm just going to be talking about my thoughts on the shows, especially the characters, the production, my critiques, and also just like my projections for the new season and just real world implications that come from this show because, you know, art literally imitates life. I have just been waiting impatiently for season 2 and it is 2025, y'all, and they still have not given me a second season. Hopefully this video, maybe it'll reach somebody in Korea and they'll know that the people are waiting. All of Us Are Dead is a Korean Netflix series that aired in 2022. It is directed by Lee Jae-kyu and Kim Nam-soo, and it was based off of a webtoon originally called All of Us Are Dead, which was written by Ju Dong-eun. And I also want to give a special shout out to the cinematographer Park Se-sung, who made a visual masterpiece with the series. Literally, the cinematography is what actually made me watch. So guys, this is also going to be a 3-parter because I literally have too much to talk about. And the first thing that I'm going to be talking about in this video is just my views on the characters. All of Us Are Dead is basically a show about a group of teenagers who are dealing with a zombie outbreak in their high school, trying to save their lives, child. And this virus was actually created by their science teacher, Lee Byung-chan, as he searched for a way to make his son basically safe from bullies. And through the use of this apocalyptic setting, they tackle situations of like prejudice, bullying, corruption, and just kind of like what society values. Also, what it truly means to be human. I don't want to do too much of an overview because I have so many other things to talk about. So if you guys wanted an overview of this show, maybe go watch something else and then come back so that we can kiki about these characters. But we're gonna talk about the people who made this all possible. So we're gonna start with Lee Byung-chan. So Lee Byung-chan, he is the science teacher at Hyosan High where all of this takes place. He used to be like a pharmaceutical company's researcher until he became a teacher at his own son's school. He realizes that his son is getting bullied after his son tries to unalive himself. He does a lot to try to save his son, right? He tries to have a meeting with the school. He tried to have a meeting with the parents of the bullies and the bullies, but you know, them bullies made them kids sit there and say, you know what, we were all having fun, it was a game, they're not really bullying us, yada yada yada. You know how bullying in Korea go. And basically the bullies, the parents are rich, they look rich, and the victims of the bullying, they ain't. So you know how it goes. It does not work in their favor. He tried to go to the police so that the police could see, hey, this bullying ain't just bullying, this is actually criminal activity and they trying to harm my son. The principal don't like the fact that he tried to bring the police into it. The bullies just keep on bullying his kid. Then he finally said, you know what, enough is enough. How about I just take you out to school, Jinsu? How about you just go to a different school? You don't gotta go to this school. Didn't the bullies just find him at this other school? Waited for him after school to just bully him some more. Gonna sit there and put the little boy in a washing machine. And at that point, I would have called the cops again. Because now you fussing and fighting with my kid outside of school hours. This is a crime. Waterboarding someone is a war crime. And I feel like putting someone in a washing machine is just waterboarding them. This is a crime. But I guess at this point, Lee Byung-chan was fed up with Jinsu and him not fighting back, talking about, why don't you just fight back? And Jinsu was just like, baby, I tried to just exit this world and you wouldn't let me. So what's really tea? And at this point, Lee Byung-chan says, you know what? I got something for them bullies. And I got something for you. And it wasn't putting his son in any type of self-defense class. It wasn't putting his son in boxing, karate, nothing like that. No, instead, he decided, hey, I'm I'm just gonna turn my son into a monster. And that should be good enough. I understand the powerlessness of everything, but like, it's just dumb. He's supposed to be like a scientist, like a big top scientist. How this man gonna jump from putting the disease in rats, right? But he don't find a cure before he puts it in a human, and the human was his own son. I feel like there are just steps in the scientific process, and he skipped a bunch of them before he put it into his son with no cure. He still had these rats in the school with children around. Children are nosy. Children are dumb. Like, and it's not even their fault. Of course, one of the nosy little kids is gonna put their fingers in the cage with the rats that are infected and get bit. And then his reaction to people getting bit, like, he wasn't having no sense of urgency for me, for real. He was there like, oh, the kid gotta be quarantined, but he not really explaining why. He just saying that the kid's sick. You should have said that the kid had like some crazy variation of COVID-19, especially because this is after 2022. I bet you they would have quarantined her ass after that. People don't know how to lie. When he got arrested by Detective J. Ick, he was still annoying me because he still was not opening his mouth about the problem. The problem was that you put a zombie into the center of the city. I have very mixed emotions with Lee Byung-chan because I still hate him for making Jin-Soo sick like this because he didn't have to do this, but I also understand why he did what he did. He brings up the fact that the bully's parents were more well off, so that's why nothing changed for his son. But he's just like, what if I was like a professor or a researcher or a scientist? Like, would y'all have cared about my child then? And you should have just cared about my child, period, because my child was going through some crazy things. And so he did talk about how he was at a disadvantage because he was lacking social power, but then he also did take it too far with saying that his world was against his son, when I feel like it was just that little society, you know, because there's people outside, little kids that's getting bit up and turned into zombies, and they ain't do nothing to your kid. This is you doing something to other people's kids. And then it upsets me that he finally opens up to J-Ik about the problem once J-Ik already knows about the problem. He already knows about the problem because people are calling the precinct talking about it's giving zombie. And now J-Ik is looking at him like, is this what you were talking about? And now Lee Byung-chan is like, yes, everybody gonna be sick. No cure. And Byung-chan, I guess he does kind of redeem himself because he sacrifices himself for J-Ik by taking a bite so that J-Ik can survive and he don't turn into a zombie, and telling J-Ik, hey, you know what, if you want to find a cure, you can go ahead and go to the school at Hyosan High and go to the science lab, and my laptop is there with all the information. Again, why do you have all this tea on zombieism in a school? And he does get bit up. The last time we see him on camera, he's really disheveled, and he's a zombie. He looks like a zombie, but he walking like a regular human. And I feel like it's up to interpretation of whether he is full zombie or a half-bee. Another reason why we are here is poor Lee Jin-soo. My poor little Ting Ting. I don't want to say that he was bullied because he was tortured. They literally pushed him off the roof of a church. That's the opening scene of the show. He gets pushed off the roof of a church. And then they're gonna sit there and put him in a washing machine. Like, that is abuse. That is torturing somebody. How you go to another school and they still trying to bother you? Like, I don't understand. You go to school from like 7 to 5, eat dinner, and then you have to go to after school from like 7 to 9. Like, there's just too much schooling for y'all to be running amok like this. Even though he was getting bullied, when he was on the roof and he was like turning into a zombie but also fighting the zombie, he was apologizing because he didn't really want to kill the bullies, even though he should have. I feel like that just shows his heart, and his dad should have just... Did you ask your son if he wanted to turn into a monster? Did your son tell you he wanted to live like a monster? Or did your son just tell you he just didn't want to be bullied no more? You know, like, how much can we say he even consented to this? Because I don't feel like he told Jin-Soo, hey, you take this and you're going to turn into a zombie. Because Jin-Soo don't give like he wanted that at all. He just wanted to not be here. So that's Jinsu. Then we go to Hyunju, the shorty who got bit, who was also a bully. I don't feel bad for her. I don't feel bad for her turning into a zombie. I don't feel bad. She was with the bullies on the roof. Even though she wasn't doing anything, she was a bystander. And essentially, like, all of this wouldn't be possible if they weren't bullying, but also this wouldn't have been possible if she wasn't so damn nosy. I don't know. If I hear a noise in a room where I know there's nobody else in that room, I'm not gonna go investigate. Maybe that's just because of the color of my skin. But I just have the common sense to just be like, you know what, that's none of my business. And she goes into Lee Byung-chan's own private office. And in his private office, we see a metal cage, right? And it's moving. She lifted up the metal cage and there is another cage, a clear plastic, hard plastic cage with holes in it. And we see a rat in there. Now, I don't know how strong a regular rat is, but I'm not trusting no rat that's able to move a hard plastic cage and a metal cage at the same time. Also, I'm not playing with no rat. She put her fingers in the little holes and she started with the rat and then it bit her. Mr. Lee comes see that she got bit by the rat, so now he knows she infected and now she tied up. He trying to stop the progression of the disease, but it ain't stopping. And guess what? I didn't feel bad for her the whole time. I'm not gonna lie. You were an accomplice to murder. If Jinsu wasn't turning into a zombie already, he would have died from the fall. I don't care that you're suffering. But also, I will say that she has one of the coolest zombie moments. Her coming out of that MRI machine, basically snapping her whole self into two, literally breaking her back. She ate that. And then we're gonna talk about Guinam. He's the bully. Partly the reason why this happened. Hate him. Hate him. He's a cockroach, okay? Every single time you think he's dead, he's still moving. So he's one of the bullies that's beating up Jinsu, but in the beginning, he's really like the bully's lackey. So he's not even like the top dog in this bully hierarchy. He's just doing what he's told, essentially. So he's sheep. He was there pushing Jinsu off the roof, there making Eunji get naked and record her. Like, this is not bullying. Like, I really want us to understand that this is criminal activity. Like, he's a criminal and he needed to be in prison. If you wanted to know what a serial killer would be like during a zombie apocalypse, him. He was literally the first person to kill a zombie. He was aiming straight for the neck with a fork. He killed a zombie with a fork. That's a serial killer if I've ever seen one. He was also like the best and the worst person to be stuck with during a zombie apocalypse because he's a fighter. Like, he will fight for his life, but that also means that you are also a weapon for him to use to save his own life. You are either a weapon or you are also a shield to protect himself. This is the first like zombie show that I ever saw where somebody is willing to create more zombies in the room that they are in. The lunch lady that was in the room with him, who was hiding somewhere else, tries to help him. Don't he just use the lunch lady as a shield and uses her body to get bit up by zombies? I said, wow, you're a snake. And then, of course, he found a knife because guess what? A serial killer always gonna do what a serial killer gonna do, and that's kill. So now he out here killing all the zombies. I'll tell you, once he got this knife, it was terrible news for the zombies. It was terrible news for the humans. It was terrible news for anyone in his immediate vicinity. Really hope you don't hear them blowing this thing. So at this point, he eventually runs throughout the whole school. He makes it to the principal's office. The principal tried to basically pressure Guinam into going out and stealing a car, and Guinam wasn't going. And why did the principal try to lunge after the knife and try to threaten Guinam with the knife? Guinam got the knife and was ready to kill the principal, and this is when Chung-san walks in. I didn't even talk about my boo Chung-san yet. Chung-san has a phone and he immediately puts the phone on him. He said, let me shine the light on you because you about to be caught in 4K. And Chung-san is like, you were already the bully's, now you want to be a killer? Once Chung-san said this about being the bully's lapdog, Guinam said, bet? You think I'm nothing? You think I'm nothing? I'll show you how big and bad I am. And he sliced the principal's throat on camera. And then he got mad. Like, when I tell you, Guinam just don't make no sense. Like, he just doesn't think things through at all. And I understand that that's that teenage brain and that prefrontal lobe ain't been fully developed. But you kill someone on camera and then got mad at the person who was filming it. And then he gonna chase after Chung-san in the halls. I'll say throughout this series, a lot of the times I was just like, can we just get our priorities in order? Why are we running through these halls with zombies around? Like, this just is not the time to be frolicking. I will say the scene when they were in the library, chef's kiss. The way Chung-san climbed up onto the library bookshelves, the way that he was weaving and dodging and dipping and diving to avoid zombies, to avoid Guinam, like, it was really a masterpiece, honestly. And I was so happy for Chung-san when Chung-san pushed him into the crowd of hungry ass zombies. Guinam was getting bit up in that library. When I tell you, it didn't even faze him that he was getting bit up. He was just so mad. He was just like, Chung-san, ooh, Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky, when I catch you. Like, that's the energy that he was giving OT. And then, of course, his evil ass, his cockroach ass, pop up like a zombie, pop up fresh like a daisy. And it's just like, you thought a serial killer was bad? Can you imagine a serial killer who was immune to zombies during a zombie apocalypse? That's a bad time. Once he becomes a half-B at this point, when I tell you, at the worst possible times, he's always there. The group try to save Chung-san, he pop up. The group try to make it to the roof to safety, he pop up. They on the roof chilling, he pop up. He meet up with Chung-san and the crew each time, and it's a terrible time. He beats up Soo-hyuk. He bites Namra. Now Namra pushes him out the window. He get up to the roof. Namra pushes him off the roof again. He makes it to the construction site. They push him out of another window. It's just like, at what point do you just give it up? The answer is never. Then he started just eating on people, and you know what? I wasn't mad that he was munching on certain people, but he was just doing too much as a zombie. As a half-B, he was just doing too much. I think one of the biggest things that bothered me is that he was just so focused on Chung-san that he was doing things that went against surviving, especially towards the end, because at the end, when they're at the construction site, they are getting a message that is literally telling them to evacuate because the military is going to bomb their high school. Why are you fussing and fighting with Chung-san when there's literally a freaking bomb about to be launched on your school? You are at ground zero and you are sitting here fussing with Chung-san over his eye. At the end, I was happy because he did die, or he died, but he was with Chung-san, and I want Chung-san to live. So I'm willing to accept that Guinam lives if Chung-san is alive as well. A lot of his motivations came from like really caring about what people thought about him at every turn, wanting to seem like a bad boy. Like, he wasn't even the highest ranking bully, which led to him following orders. He didn't like it when Chung-san called him a gopher, and that is what made him kill the principal, was the fact that somebody looked at him as weak. He also didn't want a video of him being a murderer out in the world, so that's what led him to chasing after Chung-san. Even when he got onto the roof and Chung-san and his crew were there, nobody really knew who he was. Do y'all know who I am? And then he got so butthurt when they were like, no. Like, a lot of it was so much insecurity, and I can feel bad for like the teenager, but I don't know where I was going with that. I don't feel bad for that man at all. That's Guinam out the way. I hate him. He's a cockroach. He's a serial killer. Lock him up and throw away the key. Now we're gonna talk about my boy, my guy, my numero uno, Lee Chung-san. Yeah, Lee Chung-san! Oh wait, lies. We're not gonna talk about him. There's this boy, Choi-soo, who is another bullied victim. He was bullied along with Jin-soo and this girl Eunjin. I feel bad for Choi-soo until I don't. My thing is, like, he was a victim, yes, but also a coward, yes, and a little bit of an ass. I felt bad for him when Eunjin rejected him, just because, like, obviously you like this person and like they didn't like you, and I know that's like the end of the world when you're in high school, so I felt bad for him. But like, Eunjin also was going through a lot, like literally was being harassed literally this morning. She's going through a lot. She don't got enough time and emotional space for somebody else's feelings for her. And I did feel bad when Eunjin called him a coward, just because he didn't want to go into the school with her to go delete the sexual video that Guinam had taken of her earlier. Because I understand him, like, look at where we're at. I'm not going into the school full of zombies, okay, boo? You can do that on your own time. Then he lost me because he was still on the roof when Chung-san and the crew were trying to make it to the roof and the roof door was locked. He could have opened the door for them, but he didn't. I can understand being originally afraid to open the door because you think it's just like zombies, but zombies don't try to turn knobs around here. And you heard him screaming, saying, hey, is anybody out there? We need help. Please open the door. And you didn't open the door. Eunji went out there. What if this is Eunji coming back? And you're just not gonna help her? Like, no, you've lost me. I get it, like the whole this world, the school, because nobody helped me when I was getting bullied. But sir, time and place. And then when he was in the military encampment and Eunji goes and eats his ass, I didn't give a I was just mad that she got caught. But we're gonna talk about Eunji since we bringing her up so much. Free my girl Eunji, okay? So y'all, I actually did not like my eyeshadow, so we're gonna do it again. Free my girl Eunji, free her till you free her. She was a fellow victim of Guinam. Guinam and the rest of the bullying crew essentially like forced her to get naked on camera. She's a minor at this point. They are literally makers of child. Absolutely unacceptable. So when she was up on that roof contemplating and ended it all, I was like, you know what? Fair. But I was also very relieved when the zombie outbreak happened and stopped her from jumping. But it was really crazy because as soon as she saw the zombie outbreak and saw the zombie apocalypse, her first thought to talk to Chosu was to say, damn, we're outcasts again. I think this is the time where you want to be an outcast. I would be glad to be the outcast and to be the minority where I'm human. I understood her when she wanted to go get the video off of Guinam's phone and delete it so that he wouldn't post it. But also, I just wanted us to think logically, but also she's literally depressed and was going to unalive herself literally yesterday. So can I expect her to have a rational thought? No, I can't. So I try to be real easy and real gentle with her. But the idea of going into the school and finding this video and deleting it in the middle of a zombie apocalypse was just asinine to me. How were you gonna find it? But I was really proud of her because she did make it pretty far. She made it from the roof all the way to the first floor before a whole bunch of zombies started attacking her and biting up on her, and she was still very focused on her goal of getting to the phones and deleting that video. Proud of you for that, girl. She got bit up and turned into a half bee, so you know, half zombie, half human. This is where she also lost me again. Obviously she's having a psychotic break at this point. She made it to the teacher's lounge, which is where all the phones for the students are, and she just destroyed the phones. Now I just want y'all to walk with me here. Destroying the phones of people who are already turned into zombies to stop them from watching her video. You understand that breaking a whole bunch of people's phones does not stop the video from popping up unless you find the specific phone that recorded that video and you delete it from that phone. So she's just out here destroying people's phones and not actually accomplishing the task she set out to accomplish. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. I promise you, nobody's checking for your video. It sucks that it's out there. The fact that there are zombies in Hyosan is literally the front page news. I do mess with her like vengeful spirit. When she went to the assistant principal about all the bullying, the assistant principal sat there and was like, well, maybe you're doing something that is making these people want to bully you. And she said, oh, really? Like, you're just not even gonna help me? And so when she stumbled upon the assistant principal and she picked that man up and started munching on his lower intestines, I said, yeah, that's just girl dinner. And then she tried to set the school on fire, and I said, you know what? I get that too. The kids were like so mean to her. Like, they were pouring milk on her, writing nasty things on her back, like, and no one stepped up to help her. So yeah, burn that school down, burn it to the ground. It did not burn, but I appreciate the effort. And it's crazy that she munched on that teacher, tried to burn the school down, and just went about her business, picked up a bike, and rode on her merry way. To then get hit by a bus, and then get picked up and sent to the military encampment. I think it's also so crazy. She was saved once she left the school. That's when the military was able to save her, but nobody could help her before. Okay. And the only thing that I looked at her and I'm like, you're kind of goofy for doing that, was when she started munching on chosu in the military encampment. Like, the military brought you here. People with guns, literally the only people in Korea with guns, brought you here. And now look at you, stuck in a lab where people are running tests on you because you're a half-B. As soon as she got bit and she turned into a half-B, and Guinam was turning into a half-B, I really wanted to see a Guinam versus Eunji battle. Like, bad. Eunji deserved to beat his ass. And now we get to talk about my guy, my numero uno, my main man, the savior of the series. We are going to talk about Lee Chung-san! What can I say about Lee Chung-san? I can say that he is a fighter. He's a survivor, and he is Speedy Gonzalez, because I'm telling you, he don't fight these zombies for real, but he'll run from them. By the time you blink, he gone. Honestly, he's like the main reason why the group survived. Anytime a zombie popped up on the scene, most of the group was just stuck, frozen, shook, scared, panicking. He's definitely the reason why Eunjo survived. When the zombies first popped up in the lunchroom, Eunjo was stuck. Literally, a zombie this close to her face can't move. Chung-san had to pick her up like, yo, let's go. He getting on top of tables. He's like, let me scope out the scenery. Where do I go for safety? He was the first person to sit there and be like, yo, this is giving zombie, ain't it? Everybody's like, zombies? I mean, if it walk like a zombie, bite like a zombie, it must be a zombie, huh? But everybody's like, no, not zombie. Look around. When I tell you, he be everywhere. He be the first person out the room, but also the last person out the room at times. Like, he's just really making sure that the group make it to the next destination. He's always the first person to say, like, let me do something. The group needs a phone. Let me go get a phone. Sees Guinam about to kill the principal. He said, let me record it. Let me get the evidence. Chung-san don't give a. He didn't give a that he just watched Guinam kill that principal. He still talked his hot. Like, even when he's getting his ass beat by Guinam, still saying that he ain't. That's crazy. How do you talk shit and get your ass beat? He's a lover boy for real. Everything he did was for the safety of Eunjo. That was his girl. It's sad that she ain't like him back, but like, what can you do? Literally, the person doesn't like you. That's her prerogative to have a crush on somebody else. When the people from the military finally showed up, he was ready to square up with them soldiers when the soldiers said, we're not rescuing y'all. He said, what do you mean by that? After we did all that we did to survive, y'all better rescue us. They still didn't, but he was really ready to fight, even when these soldiers had literal guns pointed at them. So he'll always get my respect for that. He was so distraught when them soldiers left him up on the roof, but he was the first person who said, you know what? Okay, we took our time to cry about the fact that they weren't gonna save us. Now we know that we really do have to save ourselves. And we were saving ourselves this whole time. So let's just get back into it. When I tell you, a leader. This is me trying to color correct my dark marks right now, y'all. When he saw that his mom was a zombie, I felt so bad for him. He was heavy in that teenage angst. Talking about, oh, like, I'm sure that my mom doesn't even care that I'm caught up in the zombie apocalypse. Like, I'm pretty sure all she cares about is her chicken restaurant. Like, girl, what? I was like, boy, you don't even know what your mom has gone through to get to you right now. This was literally the one time in the show that he couldn't be strong for everybody else, and everybody else had to be strong for him because he was not handling that well. Then I thought we were finally done with Guinam. Annoying ass, and he pop up, and didn't he bite Chung-san? And I was, when I tell you, my heart dropped the first time that I saw that, and I was like, you know what, it's okay, he bit up Chung-san, but I'm pretty sure that Chung-san has that dog in him naturally, that he can become a half-B, because, you know, it ain't the worst thing in the world to become a little half-B. Look at Namra. But no, he takes this moment to get the kiss from the girl that he likes, which I have mixed feelings about because Chungsan literally the night before told you that she did not like you that way, and you kissed her. I mean, I guess, you know, your dying wish or whatever. It doesn't look like Eunjo was too mad at it or whatever, but I just have mixed feelings about it. And in that moment, of course, he decides to be a distraction for the group to get the rest of the group to safety, because he's going to do everything to make sure that Eunjo survives, because that's just the kind of guy he is. After creating this distraction, I'm like, okay, he gets to chill out, just turn into a half-B. Maybe he meets up with the group later. Guinam's ass pop up again. And then they got to sit there and fight it out and duke it out, all while the military is literally planning a bomb strike on their school. All we see is them both just blow up. And the flames of the bomb just encapsulates them and they die together. Ugh. But I still hold out hope that Chungsan and Guinam survived, and that Chungsan is part of the half-B colony, and Guinam is somewhere that's just not where Chungsan is at. Then we're gonna talk about my boy Gyeongsu, who truthfully just deserved better. He was Chungsan's bestie. He always had Chungsan's follow-up. If Chungsan had Soohyuk's follow-up, Gyeongsu had Chungsan's follow-up each and every time. He was a little poor, but just because he's a little poor don't mean that he deserves to be mistreated. He was very much the comedic relief. I thought a lot of his lines, a lot of his line deliveries were very funny. And he fought for the group each time. Everybody else would be just standing stuck, don't know what to do. The girls never knew what the to do. Just standing there watching. And then the other guys would have to be prompted in what to do. Gyeongsu, once he saw Chungsan was on the scene, he said, you know what, let me go help my best. It bothered me that he did all that just to get infected by Nayeon's ass. Just because he was poor and she didn't like him. Like, prejudice is what killed him. And honestly, I'm glad that Gyeongsu haunted Nayeon for the rest of her day, because she only survived for 24 hours after that. But I'm glad, because she deserved no peace ever again. Now we're gonna talk about my girl Eunjo. It's crazy because she low-key have no survival skills but also have survival skills at the same time, because when the first zombie gets on the scene, she's stuck not knowing what to do. It's weird. And I do know there is a theory that she is immune to the zombies because she got scratched earlier in the day by Hyunju, but still. And I feel like she was also the only person to connect the zombie apocalypse to what happened to Hyunju earlier in the day, because nobody else, not even the teacher, was putting that together. She was thinking. And it shows you that academics isn't the only form of like being smart. I also really respect her for how like nice she was being to Namra, even though she noticed that Soohyuk didn't like her and that Soohyuk actually liked Namra, because in any other type of film they would have definitely played up the whole love triangle thing a little bit more and really would have focused on her being mean to Namra. But she was really like the only other person riding for Namra. Even after Namra became a half-B, she really emphasized, you know, like Namra is like the same person she was yesterday. So y'all should not be switching up on her like this. So she was like really the voice of reason and survival. A lot of her ideas is what led the group to survive. It really made up for the little freeze response that she had in the beginning, like knowing that you can call 911 or 119 without putting in somebody's password. She realized like, hey, maybe we shouldn't tell the 911 operator that there are zombies. Maybe we should tell them like, hey, there's a fire going on, because they're going to send out help for a fire. The bathroom sleeping setup, like her making a bathroom for them, the SOS on the roof, the whole plan of escaping the music room to the roof, she ate. Namra knew what she was talking about when Namra told Eunjo like, hey, you should have been the class president instead of me. You literally taking hold of the situation and leading people and giving people good morale and like making sure people stay hopeful. Eunjo was just eating for me personally. Who did Eunjo believe that her daddy was coming to save her? And her daddy showed why she should believe in him the whole time. But also the dad had a lot of hope in Eunjo, because he's literally going to the school with the faith that Eunjo is literally going to save herself. And I love that. I love that for them. She lost the most, but she had so much hope until she didn't. Like, she lost her bestie, Isak, found out her other bestie liked her, found out the dude that she liked didn't like her, and then her dad comes for her and then dies 10 minutes later. And then her bestie dies too. It was just frankly too much. Then the dude that she did like was gonna let Namra eat her up. For real, for real. So when the group finally made it to the quarantine camp by themselves, and the soldiers decided to question the students at the end, and she sat there and was like, listen, honestly, I'll never ask an adult for anything ever again in my life. I felt that, because when it came down to it and y'all were supposed to save us, y'all didn't save us. So yeah, that's my take on Eunjo. Loved her down, big brained. She knew how to survive in the ways that we needed. Isak is Eunjo's bestie, and honestly she didn't really serve much of a purpose other than heartbreak for Eunjo when she dies. That's it. Like, there's more importance in their loss than in them being in the actual show. And I don't like characters like that. And then we're gonna talk about Soohyuk. When I tell you he's a fighter, like, he's a fighter. I have never seen nobody just punch a zombie in the face. Like, what do you mean you're just gonna punch a zombie in the face and that's how we're fighting right now? He was there punching them, drop kicking them. Now, like, what are you doing, sir? And he did say that he was a bully back in the day, and when I watched those clips of how he was beating up on them zombies, you know what, I would believe it. I believe that you was tearing people's asses up just like that. He is also one of the main reasons that the group is alive, because he actually took charge fighting for survival. I would argue that if he was to get bit, he would be a half-B as well. Definitely the only reason Namra is alive. Cool, he was a man. He was always about saving Namra. When he stood up to his own friends for Namra, talk about Namra's not a zombie, Namra's not a zombie. Okay, she got a bite mark on her arm, but Guinam bit her. Perception is a hell of a thing. Because at this point, Chungsan has already seen Guinam get bit up by zombies. But Soohyuk has seen Guinam walking and talking like a regular human being. So the information that Guinam has bit Namra, of course, is going to elicit different responses from both of them. Chungsan is going to be scared because, hey, I know that Guinam is a zombie. And Soohyuk is going to be like, what are you talking about? He was walking and talking perfectly fine, like no damn zombie at all. Two things can be true at the same time. I really just enjoyed that scene. Like, it was stressful because Chungsan was ready to beat Namra's ass and he was ready to beat Soohyuk's ass. But Soohyuk is a man and stood by his shorty and even tied himself to her, like, if she goes, I go. And since y'all so scared that she gonna eat y'all, guess what? Now I'm the first person she gonna eat. And what about it? He was willing to be Namra's little snack. And that's a man to me. But it's also still very crazy how in the end, when Namra was like tired of fighting the zombie half of her and she was about to munch on Eunjo, that Soohyuk was literally gonna let it happen. Soohyuk was going to watch Namra eat Eunjo up. Insane. After you just promised her daddy that you were going to save her, and after you just promised Chungsan that you were going to save her. I'm not sitting here saying that you had to knock Namra out, but you could have picked Namra off of Eunjo. Eunjo forgave him, but I wouldn't. Overall, my opinions of Soohyuk, I liked him. He was great. He ain't really pissed me off much. But yeah, that's how I feel about him. So then we are going to talk about Namra, my class president. I really with her. In the beginning, they try to make you, I don't want to say they try to make you not like her, but you're supposed to think that she's stush and that she bougie and she just thinks she's better than everybody else. But really, she's just to herself, about them books, about focusing on her, because she never at any point said that she thought she was better than anybody else. That was all everybody else implying that. Her lack of spatial awareness pisses me off, because how are you so, first of all, why is the music so loud? And why are you so focused on this book that you don't notice the students running around you and running literally in the opposite direction that you are going in? that don't scream danger to you. Like, I understand that kids can be all like, haha, let's frolic, let's run, let's be playful, but these were kids that were screaming in fear and terror, and you couldn't notice that shift in energy. Crazy to me. I feel like she stood on business in her own way. Like, everyone only started to look at her as the class president when it came time to come up with a plan to save themselves, and she's just like, girl, y'all don't treat me like the class president on any other given day. Don't start doing it now, boo. She was not here to phony kick it with nobody. And she clocked that Nayeon literally infected Kyungsoo, but she noticed it too late. Because by the time she said something, Kyungsoo was already frolicking out on the grass with all the other zombies. That blew me a little bit, but like, also, I decided to forgive her the moment she slapped Nayeon in her face. Better late than never. She was also a little fighter. Like, I really appreciated that she was willing to fight for her man. When Guinam stepped on the scene, she got bit by Guinam and tossed his ass off the roof later. And I also really liked seeing the difference between her and the other half-bees. Her versus Guinam and Eunji, where the other two kind of like lost themselves in their zombiness, where they quickly caved into the whole eating people thing. Because she fought it. She wanted to eat Soo-hyuk's ass so bad. And she fought it. She wanted to eat Eunjo's ass so bad, and she fought it. But also, I really like the fact that the other half-bees were out there suffering. I don't like it that they were suffering, but I like that Namra had other people on her team. When the thunderstorms were hurting her ears and Soo-hyuk made her little earphones so that it could block out the noise, the way that Eunjo stood up for her, and the way they tried to shield her so that she could like also get on the helicopter with the soldiers, even though they didn't end up taking anybody. But I liked the fact that Guinam was suffering in his zombieism, while Eunjo was like, she wasn't doing great. I won't say her say she was doing amazing, but at least she had friends to help her through it all. And honestly, the whole situation was really, I'm sure, really scary for her, but this was the first time Shorty ever had friends. When it came out that really the reason why she stays to herself is because her mom pressures her so much to do well in school, as well as whenever she does make friends, her mom is always asking about like, oh, what do their parents do? What college are they trying to get into? Like, she just didn't want to subject anybody else to her mother. And the whole time, people here sitting here thinking that it's just because she thinks she's better than her. Like, did y'all ever go up to her and ask why she doesn't talk to y'all? No, y'all just assumed. And what do they say? Making an assumption will make an ass out of you and me. And she was really fighting her demons, and whole time she was the demon. And it upset me because I really do feel like she should have used her zombieism a little bit more than she did. Every single time after it was realized that she's a half-bee, she never then took it into account that she's immune to the other zombies and that she can kind of just walk around and be good. And also, I do feel like Soo-hyuk was very protective of her. But it's like, baby, she's stronger than you. Like, she can do the protecting now, you know? Like, she could literally fight off the zombies for you guys. I feel like my biggest issue was when they were in the auditorium and there were a whole bunch of zombies in there, when they all ran into the equipment closet and then they were trying to figure out a way to get out of the auditorium as a whole without getting bit. Why were the only two options based on how y'all could stack the containers? Namra could have literally left the room and dragged all the zombies out of the auditorium. Why was that not an option? Like, they never really capitalized on the fact that Namra was immune to the zombies, and it was still up to everybody else in the group to figure out ways to survive and sacrifice themselves, when really Namra could have done a lot more than she did. The way that she fought in the last episode is how she should have been fighting once they understood what being a half-bee entailed. I'm glad that she got her zombieism under wraps and she don't look crazy no more, because Shorty was looking rough. But overall, love Namra down. Just wish that she had done more, because she had the ability to do more. Now we're gonna talk about Nayeon's ass. I don't know who I hate more, her or Guinam. When she first popped up on the scene, she was just annoying. Yelling at people to do something about the zombies, yet she wasn't doing nothing. And I can't sit here and say that in a zombie apocalypse, I would be a fighter. I can't sit here and say with my whole chest and total belief in myself that I would be able to be a Chungsan or a Soohyuk. But I would never be a Nayeon. She's classist, because the amount of times that she bring up the fact that Gyeongsu is poor is crazy. I have never seen someone in a zombie film infect someone who is in the same room as them. There was no reason for her to do this. Nayeon basically infects Gyeongsu simply because he's poor. Simply because he's poor and everybody likes him more. That's really the reason. That's it. There's no big hoorah. That's the reason. She infects him, turns him into a zombie, kills him, essentially kills this boy because he's poor and he had pushed her earlier in the day. That's literally the reason. When Namra pressed Nayeon about it, and Nayeon had to come clean about the fact that she did that, she gonna sit there and be like, why is Gyeongsu better than me? Like, why are y'all so upset? Why is Gyeongsu better than me? Maybe because he's not a murder shorty. Crazy idea. Maybe because he didn't kill anyone. He's just poor. You want me to be mad at him because he's poor. That's it. Then she gonna sit there and cry and leave the room talking about, I ain't got no friends. Maybe you would have some friends if you weren't a bitch and you weren't a murderer. Crazy idea. And then she leaves, and the only other teacher in this situation ends up leaving with her to go save her. The teacher told her, hey, just do one thing, one good thing for the group. And she ends up in the room with all the food. When the group finally gets to that room for like other reasons, when they get there, she doesn't open the door to save them or anything. She just continues to eat and locks them out. I'm supposed to feel bad for her because Gyeongsu is literally haunting her. She's just living with the guilt of killing Gyeongsu. Like, yeah, you should live with that. You should live with that for the rest of your days. Like, you just stay making the most selfish and wrong choice. Then when she finally decides to like help people and help the group, they're already long gone. And then when she finally is gonna go help them, guess who pop up? Yes, Guinam's ass pops the up like a daisy and decides that this is going to be his little midnight snack and eats Nayeon. Now, do I feel bad for her for getting chewed up on? No, not really. I don't feel bad for her like at all. But also I wish that she had gotten a different death, if that makes sense. Like, I wouldn't wish getting ate up by Guinam on anybody. Now I'm going to talk about my girl Jimin. I like Jimin. I like Jimin a lot. I feel like she is the closest to me in a zombie apocalypse. She was willing to put up a fight. Like when Guinam popped up on the roof to beat up Chungsan, she was the first girl to start fighting. Mind you, Namra has whole zombie powers. But she was the first one to say, let me get into this little scuffle real quick. And yes, he did fling her ass around, but it's the thought that counts sometimes. She was about saying whatever was on her mind. When it came to Nayeon, she stayed on Nayeon's ass, okay? Nayeon kept complaining. Jimin's the first person to say, okay, do something then. Jimin's the first one to tell her, shut up. Shut your dirty mouth. When Nayeon left the room and Miss Park went after, and everybody else in the group was like, oh, well, we didn't hear any screams, so maybe Nayeon and Miss Park are alive. Maybe they're alive. Jimin said, shut up. None of us liked her. None of us told her to leave the room, and none of us told Miss Park to leave the room. They both decided to die on their own, so don't sit here and, oh my gosh, maybe they're dead, maybe they're alive. To me, I don't care. Like, Nayeon's a whole murderer. I don't care. And I said, you know what, Jimin? I f with you heavy. She was a very honest character, and I think that's what I liked about her the most. They had found a drone and made the drone work and was gonna use the drone to go get help. And as soon as they used the drone to like go around the school to see what's going on, at the gate, Jimin noticed her parents' car and noticed that her parents were dead, turned into a zombie. See her crying, and then like 30 minutes later, she decides to just get on a chair and she's ready to jump out of the window and just unalive herself. But she's funny as hell because she said, you know what? I just don't have to deal with this. Like, not dealing with any of this is also an option. It blew me because like I like Namra, but when Namra became a half-B, Jimin was not with her. He said, the zombies killed my parents, so you're more zombie than human to me. Sorry, babes. And I mean, she did eventually turn around with her attitude towards Namra. She stood by her morals and her beliefs. Like, she was like, no, what's wrong is wrong, what's right is right. Like, and I'm standing 10 toes down in it. Her death upsets me. I will never get over her death. Her death makes no sense to me. For her to not help a friend and then run in the completely opposite direction of where the rest of the group went will never make sense to me. But Jimin, that's my girl. So Junyoung, he ain't do much, but his death was like the second most painful to me. Like, I did not like it. Once Guinam cracked his glasses on the roof, I knew he wasn't making it. As a person with glasses, I'll tell you this right now. My glasses breaking Apocalypse, it's a wrap for me. But him getting bit up by them zombies and then helping his friends and yelling at his friends to go home, like, even though he can't, my heart, my chest. Then there was Hyoyoung. I really don't know how to pronounce her name for real. She really ain't do much but cry. That's all she did. She just cried, and that was what she did. And honestly, girl, same. I can't even fault you for that. All she did was cry and tell people that she did not have a crush on Daesoo. She didn't do much, but guess what? She got to survive. So you go, girl. You go, Glen Coco. Then Daesoo, my big boy, he was another zombie fighter. He literally lifted up a zombie and threw that to the side. Okay, I guess that's what we do. He was doing what he had to do to help the group survive. I appreciated him for that. But overall, didn't really do much. He was more of a comedic relief, and they really ain't have to bring up the fact that he was big so many damn times. They brought up the fact that that boy was big, like, I don't have eyes. I can see. Woojin, he was also, I feel like, meant for comedic relief. He ain't do much. The biggest thing that he did was the fact that his sister was looking for him. To be the last death before they made it to the military encampment is trifling. So we have the main group with Chungsan, Eunjo, Soohyuk, Namra, Nayeon, Gyeongsu. Isak was there as well. Daesoo, Hyoryung, Jimin, and Junyoung, and Woojin. And then we had the other group of Hari, Minjae, Mijin, and Junsung. So there are two main groups in this school trying to survive. Then we go to Hari, who is Woojin's older sister, my fave girly, like a zombie killer, okay? You think that Guinam was a zombie killer? Hari was a zombie killer. When I first introduced to her, she's like, what is it? She's a bow and arrow girl. She's archery. She was on the archery team. I'm telling you, the adults here, that's a whole other section. I hate the adults here. But the adults, just useless and rude. Cause tell me why her coach gonna have her stand up in the bus and say, hey, if y'all wanna know what a loser looks like, that's her. A senior who can't even take the civil service exam, a senior that has won no medals, a senior that ain't going to no damn college because she can't get a scholarship and she ain't got the grades. Like, why are you saying all of this right here, right now, sir? And it's crazy that he was talking all that hot about her archery skills, but he's probably somewhere dead, and she's literally a zombie slayer. You need to put that on your resume. Hey, I'm a zombie killer. Who got the medals for the most zombie kills with a bow and arrow? That would be me. But also, she was a Nuna for real because she found her brother. She said, I'm going in there to find my brother, and she found her brother. Was she able to save her brother? No, but she also at that point did not have her bow and arrow. So be easy on her. Just for him to die on top of her trying to save her life, I think that's so crazy. Then Minjae is her Jr., like also on the archery team and another zombie killer, always had his sunbathe follow up, always was there ready to get a nigga. And also, he didn't deserve to die like that. He got munched on by Guinan because Guinan was able to smell Cheongsan on him, and Guinan wasn't even hungry. That's just gluttony at that point. He was still in his final moments of getting bit up, trying to fight and kill Guinan. So respect to that, and he should have became a half-beat. Then we have Jun Sung, and poor little Tink Tink. Poor little Tink Tink. He really ain't want to be here. He was over it. He tried so hard and he really didn't want to die, but once he got that injury in his stomach, I knew it was over. He started to get pale. How is he supposed to go to the hospital right now? Like, it was just clipped for him. He deserved better. But I also do appreciate his death. Like, he died trying to save his friends. Not trying to save his friends, he did save his friends, sacrificed himself. And I will always respect somebody who sacrifices themselves for their friends, especially when he was so scared to die and he was so scared of the zombies. To sacrifice himself in the end, there was no other way he could go. Then we got Mijin. She was funny as fuck, because no matter how scared she was of the zombies, she was just upset that she was a senior. To the point, like, it was funny, but it was also repetitive. And I hate when things are repetitive. If she wasn't complaining about the zombies, she was complaining about it being a senior and having to go to college and having to take the exams. And also about what this zombie apocalypse is going to interrupt with, like, the exams and stuff. I ship her with Hari bad because she was giving gay. I'm sorry. Run it back. Go watch that show again. She's giving gay. She looked Hari up and down and said, ooh, she's my style. She's so cool.
존나 멋있어. 아씨. 쟤는 존나 내 스타일이야.
Looked her up and down, said, ooh, I want that.
내 친구 졸라 친해, 씨발.
It was really funny how she tried to play tough all the time, but she was the biggest softie. Her and Junsung were literally together from like the minute the apocalypse started. When Junsung died, she was not okay. She was the main one trying to figure out how they were going to save Junsung. She was like, we can't leave him here. We have to take him with us. She was distraught. And then when Junyoung got bit trying to help, she was distraught. I'm telling you, she acts tough, but she was a little chocolate gumdrop inside. She was also the one who comforted Hari after Woojin died in front of her. Like, she was literally the softest girl, even though she tried to play hard. But Hisu, she's the pregnant shorty. Not really a main character, but she's a character to me. A mother. She walked out of that school and gave birth in a playground's bathroom, and then left the child in the bathroom, but left the child in the bathroom in the playground. Like, somebody's gonna go in and find the baby, right? But once she realized that zombies were on the scene, she immediately went back to that bathroom and got her baby, saved her baby, ran with her baby. Even when she got bit up by a zombie, she put her baby in the safest position and tied herself up to ensure that she didn't attack her baby. A mother. Most of y'all could never. I could never. Literally made it to Cheongsan's family restaurant, which is so interesting to see that parallel of her running to Cheongsan's family restaurant to save her baby, and Cheongsan's mom running from the restaurant to the school to save her baby. I love the show, y'all. Hisu will always have my respect, and that's just on period. Then we have Soju, which is Eunjo's dad and father of the year. He was gun-ho about getting his daughter. I feel like he also knew his daughter. He didn't stress his daughter with like doing well in school. He was just like, hey, just be healthy, because he is also a first responder. So he's like, you know, in an accident, we are all the same. Whether you're smart or you're dumb, you're rich or you're poor, we are all the same in an accident. It's nice that he just wanted her to be happy and healthy. And I feel like he also was really big on giving the congresswoman that he was in charge of saving a dose of reality. Like, girl, look around. Do you think they're prioritizing you right now? We are in a zombie apocalypse. Relax yourself. The fact that he broke out of a military encampment just to save his child, a father. Also, the fact that they were shooting at him and not one bullet landed. Maybe South Korea, y'all don't need to have guns, because obviously you don't know how to use them right. And the fact that he really traveled through a zombie infested city just to get to his child, and he did. I love a goal-oriented person who accomplishes their goals. But then to also die 10 minutes after in front of her was bull. He did more to save those kids than the military. Ridiculous. Chung-sun's mom, you know, she loved her son, but shorty ain't have no sense. She's number one in the stupid deaths. As a mother, you're going to want to protect your child. And I respected her so much for fighting to get to him and getting to the school. And my thing is, she's seen zombies at this point. Okay, she spent half a day getting to the school. You get to the school, you see zombies everywhere. Why would you not be able to infer that Kyung-soo was a zombie? Huh? Love her down for being mother, but she's stupid. Then we're gonna talk about Park Sun-hwa, the English teacher. I respected her because she was literally the only teacher there with any type of sense and any type of care for the students. She didn't give a that the principal cared about the reputation of the school. She cared about the students more. But damn, why you had to save Nayeon? Like, when it came down to it, there's a group of students that needed your help versus the one student that is a murderer and then chose to leave the room. And then you went to go save Nayeon, got bit up, and you didn't even save Nayeon for real because she ends up dying literally the next day. When you could have just stayed with the mass of students and saved them and protected them. So I have mixed feelings with her. Principal, hate him down, absolutely useless. Why are all principals in K-dramas only worried about the reputation of the school instead of the actual students in the school? He was always trying to handle things internally, and his version of handling things internally is not doing anything, which is very frustrating, very upsetting. Because all of this could have been avoided if he just reprimanded the bullies. When he found out that Mrs. Park, or Miss Park, called 911 because Hyunju literally came into the classroom talking about how the science teacher had kept her captive, he was upset at Miss Park for calling 911 instead of upset at the teacher who kept them captive. When the zombie outbreak happened, he's there meeting with the faculties, upset because the students' parents are calling the school saying, hey, my kids are talking about zombie this, zombie that. And he's upset with the faculty for not taking the students' phones away at the beginning of school. And it's just like, sir, your priorities are out of whack.
Needs to sort out her priorities.
Your priorities are not grounded in reality that something is going on with your students. Maybe some of your students act out, but not every single student in your school is acting like this on a regular basis. So obviously something is wrong. Like, why are no light bulbs dinging to say something is wrong? So his own willingness to sweep things under the rug is essentially what becomes his downfall, because if he had handled the whole bullying situation with Guinam, first of all, Jinsu wouldn't have been turned into a monster by his own daddy. And then second of all, Guinam wouldn't have been on the school premises to slice your throat open. So your death is literally on your lack of ability to do anything good for anyone else other than yourself. Detective Jae-ik, when they talk about how there are good cops out there, they are talking about him and him alone. He wasn't about overexerting force, even when he should have, because he should have beat the ever-living daylights out of Lee Byung-chan. I also appreciated that he checked Mr. Lee, because it's like, okay, you saying the world gave up on your son. No, shorty, just this small little community, because there is a 3-year-old in daycare right now that's getting bit up by his freaking teacher, not understanding why. He was really out here with a baton and a savior complex, okay? He saved Pochol, and he saved Orange Gibberish, and he saved like a child, and Eunji. Like, he was literally about saving whoever he could. Like, he is a first responder, do you hear me? He was able to get the information about the laptop and the virus to the most important people. I can't fault him at all. Pochol, he's the other detective that was running around with Jae-ik. He was just the comedic relief, but he was not messing with Jae-ik's save a hoe mentality. He said, why we can't just save ourselves? But I felt him for real, because every single time I turn, we gotta save somebody else, and we can barely save ourselves. How are we supposed to save a toddler, a baby, and this grown-ass man on this little ass bike. Like, please be realistic. But he also came in clutch when needed, so like not too much on him. Like, don't do too much on him. Orange Gibberish, I couldn't stand him. I actually am very upset that he lived while so many of the students died. Having someone like Orange Gibberish did make sense in a realistic aspect, where if there was a zombie apocalypse today, that there would be somebody running towards the zombie apocalypse to live stream it. There definitely would be, because clout is a dangerous drug. For him to be stuck there and then Jake has to now save you, like, it blew me. Like, Jake could have left him and I would not have faulted him for it at all. Bring my boo back out. Then we have the assemblywoman, the congresswoman, whatever you want to call her. Shorty needed a reality check so bad because, like, who do you think you are? Like, I get it, you're an official person, but like, there are zombies. It's a zombie apocalypse. Like, so many times I was just like, can we just understand where we are and like what's happening? But I also respected her ability to keep Anjo's dad grounded in the fact, like, hey, I know that you want to go save your daughter, but like, you also have a responsibility to save us. I also do respect her for standing 10 toes down in like her people and like representing her constituents. Listen, when I tell you, a lot of people in the American politics scene could learn a thing or two from her about sticking up and standing up for your constituents, the people who got you into power. Because once she made it to the encampment, she took the blame for Anjo's dad leaving, one, and then two, she refused to resign when she learned that they planned to bomb Hyosan. And she's like, no, I'm gonna stand with my people. I'm gonna help them be reborn from this terrible, terrible disaster. She was also not for the whole bombing Hyosan and giving up on Hyosan. She annoyed me, but like when it really came down to it, you know what? I respected you as a politician. Last person to talk about is Commander Sunmoo. He pisses me off so badly because I don't feel like he had one good thought in his mind. But I do respect the fact that he didn't really want to give up on the people of Hyosan until it was literally too late, where everybody was like, no, you have to, or the whole of Korea will die. Let's make a decision. Like, he wanted the scientists to come up with a cure, but like, this literally all takes place in 3 days. How are we supposed to come up with a cure, sir? Please tell me. If they hadn't found the laptop, they wouldn't have even known what the virus was. He comes up with the idea to cut off the phone and internet service to Hyosan because people were making like parody videos of what was happening. But I'm just like, why are we cutting off the internet for the people who need to tell you, hey, I'm alive and I'm here and this is where you can find me and this is where you can save me? Why would you do that? I can understand maybe cutting off access to other places so that they're not making like fake news, but Hyosan needed to be able to communicate with officials. Gonna decide to stop saving people after Eunji start biting up Chosu in the military encampment. First of all, why are we just not doing a more in-depth search for people? Like, if you're coming from Hyosan, I need to do a full body search on you. I get it, they're not operating under the idea that it's a zombie virus, but like, come on, let's just go with common sense. People who don't have any bite marks or scratch marks on them should go to one area, and people with bite marks and scratch marks should go to another. That should just be the way that we're doing it. And I get it if like you want to draw blood and test people's blood and see if it's in their blood or whatever, but like, let's be real. It's a zombie virus. If you got bit, then you're turning into a zombie or a half-bee. When they came to the plan of bombing everything, they had drones to tell people to shelter in place. They were also emitting these loud noises to get the zombies' attention and have them congregate into certain areas. And it's like, what time are you giving these people to evacuate? Because you told me to leave, but you're also bringing zombies to me. Where am I supposed to go? And he really didn't want to bomb Hyosan, but he had to make a choice. And you know, it really boils down to, are we gonna prioritize the safety of the few over the safety of the many? He made a tough call, but like, unaliving himself after, no. You made that tough call, you should have to live with that tough call, in my personal opinion. I just feel like we could have done a redemption arc for you, but now you're just dead. That is everything that has to do with my views on the characters, my thoughts on the characters, how I felt about the characters, who I liked, who I didn't like. If you guys have watched All of Us Are Dead, I would love to hear the characters that you like, how you felt about these characters, because I feel strongly about these characters. But yeah, so that's it. This is my video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and to tell a friend to do the same. And I will catch you guys in the next one. So bye.